Who is Apollyon, the king of the bottomless pit in the Bible? Does he have links to the Tower of Babel? In Revelation 9, we learned about the king of the bottomless pit, Apollyon. Was he also worshipped as a god in ancient Babel, Egypt, Greece, and Rome? And what role does he play in the future 70th week of Daniel? That's what we're talking about today, and we're starting right now. In March 2021, the Pope traveled to ancient Iraq, to the city of Ur, where Abraham once lived. After touring a Sumerian ziggurat temple and other pagan ruins in this city of Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, the Pope appealed for solidarity among members of various faiths. He said, quote, "This blessed place brings us back to our origins. We seem to have returned home." I would like to ask the Pope, home of what? Babel is not the home of our faith. Abraham left the Babel area for Canaan. The ancient religion of Nimrod and Babel is not the religion of the faithful. It's the religion of Satan. And the Pope isn't the only one interested in the ancient gods. In a future episode, we're going to talk about how world leaders, many of whom are well known, are trying to resurrect one of them. Yes, you heard me correctly. But first, in this video, let's discuss Apollyon. Apollyon, king of the bottomless pit, is found in the Bible in Revelation 9. Christians may realize that this character has a link to Greece and the god Apollo, which is a form of Apollyon, but not to ancient Babel. But I'd like you to see a clip from a portion of a recent video discussion Fisherman and myself took part in with the Prophecy Roundtable group of Doug Hamp, John Haller, and Scott Harwell. This clip from that event features Dr. Doug Hamp showing artifacts from that area and time that look shockingly, shockingly, like those mentioned in the book of Revelation. A link to the complete discussion on a variety of topics is found in the description section below, as well as a link to Dr. Hamp's book on this very subject.
So this right here is from about 2200 BC. This is from ancient Mesopotamia. It's a cylinder steel. And what you can see on here is, I don't know if I can show the mouse. Let me try here. Can you guys see my mouse here? I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway. Okay. So the creature here, this is the beast. Okay, so this right here, this is the beast, right? And you can see that the woman is riding the beast.
The one on the winged lion is the beast.
Yeah, I see
the winged lion is the beast. Yes, the winged lion. So that right there is called the Anzu bird. This is a chimeric creature. It stood for Satan. It stood for Nimrod. It was part eagle, part lion, part dragon. In other depictions, it has a scorpion tail. It's also spewing out vomit. In some depictions, you have it with a serpent head phallus. I mean, this is a crazy, and it's exactly what we see in Revelation.
Okay, let's discuss this for a second. Doug is explaining that the ancient Sumerian culture produced this image that is very similar to the beast of Revelation. He called it a chimeric creature. In other words, one that is made up of parts of different other creatures. If you don't realize it, the beast of Revelation is exactly that, made up of other creatures. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard. Its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. So the beast of Revelation is chimeric as well, specifically focusing on the beast from Daniel 7, the winged lion. And notice this was a winged lion in the image of Dr. Hamp, the bear, and the winged leopard. Now let's return to Doug's explanation.
All right, and there's variations on this thing, just so you know. All right, but this is also what you have on the Ishtar gate. You have the winged lion on the Ishtar gate. Speaking of Ishtar, this is Ishtar, or Inanna. All right, she's stark naked, and she's riding this beast. And back here is Enlil. He's got his 10 horns. He's got his crown with 10 horns on it, right? And he's the guy driving, right? So This is from a long time ago, and this theme is what we find in Revelation. So, yes, there are definitely people who are involved today and the Pope and all that stuff. I get that. All roads really do take us back to ancient Babylon. And when we start thinking about, what is Babylon? It's both a system and it's a kingdom. It's a kingdom system and its actual city. Okay.
In this second clip, we saw the focus first on the woman riding the beast. In Revelation, this is Mystery Babylon, and how fitting. I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was full of blasphemous names, and it had 7 heads and 10 horns. And in this cylinder from Babel, we see the beast has a driver, a man with 10 horns. The 10 horns should also be familiar to readers of Revelation. The name given to this man is Enlil. Enlil meant Lord of the Wind, both the hurricane and gentle winds, and eventually wind as his word or command. He was sometimes called Lord of the Air. Did you catch that? Again, this should be shockingly familiar to readers of the Bible. What does Paul say about Satan? You once walked following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air. Did you catch that? The spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience. So Paul seems to equate Satan with this Enlil character. And in Revelation 12, we see Satan as a dragon with 10 horns. So this is all very instructive. Some might say, why doesn't the beast and Satan have 7 heads like they do in Revelation? My best guess is that at this point, back at the time of the Tower of Babel, there weren't 7 kingdoms yet. It was just the very beginning of the revolt, so the beast doesn't show its 7 heads yet. Enlil was eventually replaced by Marduk as the executive of the Babylonian pantheon. Later, he became known as Baal, who frequently is mentioned in the Bible. And this is very important. We need to understand that the ancient demonic beings seem to change names and even forms as they continued to deceive different cultures. They seem to have decided to become culturally relevant to each new culture as they proceeded on throughout history. We need to remember that today in our own culture. We see this idea of different names for the same being in Revelation, as Apollyon is given 2 names there. They have as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek he is called Apollyon. Now, another thing that Doug referred to was the Anzu bird, which is the equivalent of the beast in this description and has an interesting biblical parallel as well. The Anzu bird was a god of evil who stole the tablets of fate whereby he ruled heaven and earth. Anzu coveted this tablet that Enlil had and determined to take it and rule the heavens and earth. The affairs of heaven and earth fell into disorder after this. This is similar to Satan stealing man's dominion of the earth in the Garden of Eden. It is interesting that Jesus opens a 7-sealed scroll to restore dominion of the earth. Very, very interesting parallel. In all these ways, the ancient residents of Mesopotamia retained some knowledge of the true stories given them by God, since their culture in Babel was close in time to the flood. They kind of knew these stories that God had passed to them, but they distorted the truth in these more mythological tales. Now, let's look at another very interesting parallel to Revelation 9. The discussion is kicked off by John Haller and our own fisherman. And then what Doug brings up is absolutely amazing.
In Britain 2 years ago, we went to the British Museum, and the featured exhibit there was an exhibit called I Am Ashurbanipal, King of Assyria, King of the World. It just sort of sent a chill when I saw it. And what he is doing, and he's the picture that they use, and it's on the book that they've done about this from the British Museum exhibit, is he's riding a horse with a bow.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just saying that there is this. I'm agreeing with Doug that there is this imagery throughout this Mesopotamian region, this um, Syrian and Babylonian thing. This king of the world concept was clearly there, and we know that they fit into the pattern of the various beast empires and that type of thing. So drag this out.
That reminds me of Sagittarius, the rider with the bow.
Yeah, there is a consistent theme in the imagery.
I'm going to bring that up right now. I have it. I want you guys to see it. This thing is crazy. All right. So speaking of Sagittarius, right, here he is. Right. This is Sagittarius, the most primal form of Sagittarius that there's. Okay. So this is what I was telling you guys. This is on that Kuduru stone. This is about 1200 BC, British Museum. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. So you can see here the outline of this is a man, right? He's got a bow, right? Right. Notice that he also has a second head, right? The second head is that of a lion. He's got wings. He has a scorpion tail, and he has a serpent head phallus, right? So all of this is what is described in the 9th chapter of Revelation, right? And this person is known as Pabilsag or Nergal. They're both the same dude, right? Who's also Nirta, and this is the king of the underworld, the king of death, right? He's the king of Sheol, or Apollyon. They're all the same. They're just different languages.
So we see from Doug's incredible image from thousands of years before Revelation was written that we have an almost exact match with the Bible. In appearance, the locusts were like horses, prepared for battle. On their heads were what looked like crowns of gold, and their faces were like human faces, and their hair like women's hair, and their teeth like lions' teeth. They had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and their noise of their wings was like the noise of many chariots with horses rushing into battle. They have tails and stings like scorpions, and the power to hurt people for 5 months is in their tails. From the head of a man and lion's teeth, similar to the second lion's head that Doug showed us, to scorpions' tails, to them being like horses. I mean, this is an amazing similarity. And their king is Apollyon. So who is Apollo or Apollyon? He was worshipped by the Greeks and Romans, and Horus is the equivalent Egyptian god. In Hebrew, we are given the name of the being that likely is his true name, however, Abaddon, the Hebrew term that means destruction. And it appears in the Bible in the Old Testament as a place of destruction, and in the New Testament as the king of the abyss. The word perdition in our English Bibles might also be a meaning for this word. So, is the Antichrist the son of perdition? The son of Abaddon? Well, maybe. I'd say it's possible. Let's look at the seminal verse again. They have as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek he is called Apollyon. So, from this we see he is an angel. And those he commands torment the unrighteous during the wrath of God, during the first woe. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any green plant or tree, but only those people who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. They were allowed to torment them for 5 months, but not kill them. And their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it stings someone. And in those days, people will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee from them. So we have to ask, is Abaddon a good angel or a bad angel? The fact he is associated with Apollo would indicate he might be an evil or fallen angel. But the fact the demon locusts or Sagittarius-like creatures that we were shown by Doug only bite the wicked seems to indicate that maybe he's a servant of God. Biblical scholars are divided. Me, I think he's a fallen angel due to the Apollo connection. But I could be wrong. What are your thoughts? Now, understanding that many of the fallen angels were assigned nations to command by God himself is an important understanding of the biblical worldview. Click right here to see a video on this topic where these beings are also called the sons of God, or Elohim, or gods, and how they are the false gods of the nations found in mythology. Till then, this is Nelson, and I'll see you there.